It's Kevin. It's Friday. Live from lockdown once again. Thanks for tuning in. I can see some people. The comments are working. Oh, look at that. There's a whole bunch of people. Thank you so much to all of you lovely people. And I'm glad the comments are working. I've had some trouble the last couple of weeks where I couldn't see you. And now I know you're there, even though you know I'm not really going to read and respond. But thank you. Live from lockdown number 54, if you can believe it. We're well into the second half of the first 100. And so happy to have you with me. I'm going to start like I always do and acknowledge the land on which I sit, coming to you again from Leith in the city of Edinburgh in the country of Scotland. Rich history to this place. Many elders go before me on these lands, and I want to honor their presence and their contributions to this place. Scots and Celts and Picts and Romans and English and all kinds of people, welcome and not welcome on these lands over so many years, making it such a rich place with such an astonishingly beautiful and powerful history. And what an honor to be here. And a huge thank you in particular to the people who are here still and have made me very welcome in this wonderful place. I thank all of you. You know who you are. I've received extraordinary hospitality in the time that I've been here, and I'm a lucky man. So thank you. Check some settings because I sometimes forget things and I get into trouble. See if there's any emergency messages. No emergency messages. Hopefully I'm doing all right. Off the top, that was a tune called Let There Be Love, a pop tune from the 1940s. Nat King Cole had the hit. Probably the best known version is the Nat King Cole version. I played that once before, then and again now, a request from my very favorite Scottish singer, the lovely Susanna MacDonald, suggested I do that one again. I changed it up. It's usually kind of a little bit of a bouncier swing tune, but I thought I'd do it with that slow 12/8 kind of groove. I hope that's okay for all of you, just to give it a bit of a different feel. Let there be love. Let there be love for all of you. There's a wish to start the evening or the afternoon, depending on where you are. You know, if you watch, that I've been having some internet trouble recently, and I think I've solved that. I had a very successful internet endeavor last night that I'll speak more about later. But if you notice any trouble, please let me know. And as always, I will say early in the show that donations are very welcome if you're able to. No pressure whatsoever. But if you've got an income and you're so inclined, it's still an awfully tough time to be in the music business. And the support that a lot of you marvelous people have extended to me has been really, really appreciated. And again, if you do have an income and you're able to contribute, but you want to support somebody else this week, that's totally fine. Mostly I love to have you here and stick around and enjoy the art. And you know that I'll go through and hit like on all your comments and say hello later on. Right now I'm going to try to keep focused on playing these instruments and keeping the music flowing. I did just check the tuning on this, but we'll make sure it's okay. Switch into my nylon string guitar. There we are. Again, if you watch, you'll know, or if you pay attention to the news, you'll know that unlike some places, like my other home, Ontario, which is having a very rough time these days, lockdown's easing up here in Scotland. We're getting a chance to be with a bit more people. We're still being awfully cautious. We're wearing our mask, even though I forgot to wear my mask in the first part of my setup. We're wearing our masks, and we're keeping our distance, especially indoors, but we're allowed to gather outdoors. There's some beer gardens that are opening up, and I've actually had the chance to have a couple of visits with small groups of people in their gardens, in friends' gardens over the last couple of weeks, which has been such a treat. And the combination of those visits and the springtime weather make it very hard to go through a day or two without hearing talk of all the honeysuckle, which is blooming in so many people's gardens and around the city. And as a result, I have been humming and quoting the lyrics to this next tune quite frequently, driving a few of my friends a little nuts. In fact, every honeybee fills with jealousy when he sees you out with me. Who can blame them? Goodness knows. You're my honeysuckle rose. So I decided I better play this tune to get it out of my system. So in the key of F, if you're playing along, fabulous old standard, Honeysuckle Rose. honeysuckle rose. Maybe that'll get that out of my system, maybe not. As I say, lots of honeysuckle around here. I think I may have messed up the form there. I think there may have been an extra A section in one of those choruses. My apologies if you were playing along and I threw that off. Anyway, what a fun old tune that I never really learned. Again, if you know, you'll know that the Charlie Parker tune, bebop tune Scrapple from the Apple is based on that, and I can't resist a little quote of that in there. But there's a bit of that old gem. I have taken sometimes to doing temporal as well as land acknowledgements, and I didn't do this off the top, but of course tomorrow, May the 1st, is May Day, and I wanted to say something about May Day. A traditional spring festival, particularly here in Europe, but also for the past 130 years or so, has been celebrated as International Workers' Day. The Second International called for May the 1st to be declared as a holiday based around the calls for the 8-hour workday and for international peace. Named after a very famous protest that became a terrible massacre in Chicago in 1886, the Haymarket Massacre. Terribly violent demonstration. Well, a demonstration that turned violent, a demonstration calling for reforms to work and in protest of the police having killed a worker a couple of days earlier. And it became a very ugly affair, and but became the call for May 1st to be an international workers' holiday, and to work for an 8-hour day, which somehow I think we won and then we lost again. If you are like me and know too many people who work way too many hours in a day, just trying to put food on the table. So I'd like to do a tune to acknowledge that. This is a special tune which is often associated with those struggles, and particularly associated with women in the labor movement, and women demanding not only fair working conditions and decent pay, but also decent life conditions. I'm going to do a tune called Bread and Roses. This piece is featured on an album which I have often advertised on this show, an album called The Spark by my band, The Special Interest Group. The fabulous Rebecca Campbell does a beautiful version of that tune on here. Many of you have bought this record over the time of listening to Live from Lockdown, and I appreciate it. If you're interested, check those notes on the side of the page. I didn't say this, did I? When I was doing my speech for donations, the link to my PayPal account is on the side of the page. You can also send me an e-transfer if you're in Canada to my email address along the bottom of the screen here. But there's also links to my Bandcamp page there. As you know, as I say, lots of you have already bought that record. I really appreciate it. But and next week is Bandcamp Friday. So if you're eager to buy a record and you want to wait a week, it's even a better time to buy records, because Bandcamp waives their already small fees. But I'd like to send this out to my very good friends in the Special Interest Group who are back in Toronto, Rebecca and Rakesh and Ian and Jim, who I miss an awful lot, and with whom I'm hoping to make some music someday soon again. But here is, without Rebecca's fabulous singing, a little interpretation of Bread and Roses. Take a minute to set up a bit of a loop. Bread and Roses, As We Go Marching, Marching, or at least a version thereof. There you go. Thanks for listening to that. That's a tune I've been playing for many, many years in many settings with many people at many labor gatherings and other things, and it's still a powerful tune. I have played that one before, and I'm gonna play another tune that I have played before. Mandolin time for you mandolin yippers people. This will be a repeat. I hope that's okay. And it's not a fiddle tune. I'm going to do something different again. I'm also going to try not to get twisted up in this. Oh, man. There we go. Yeah. So this is a tune which was originally brought to my attention by my good friend Judy Shand, whose name I might have seen there. Is Judy listening today? I think you're there, Judy. Anyway, I know Judy from working with her in Toronto many years ago. In fact, I met Judy through my very good friend Bruce McDougall, whose birthday I celebrated last week, although we lost Bruce a number of years ago. Judy now lives in Alberta. She may be my only representative in the listeners on in that particular time zone. Judy, it's always lovely to have you with here and listening. Judy grew up in Newfoundland, and this is a traditional tune from Newfoundland that she brought to my attention and asked for, and I played once last autumn. And wanted to do it again. My favorite Scottish singer, Susanna MacDonald, who asked for Let There Be Love, also asked if I do this again. And here's the cool thing. She told me she recognized the tune, and sure enough, she went through her old music, and look what I found. A choir arrangement from when she was in high school of this very tune, She's Like the Swallow, published by the Oxford Music Archive Service, amazingly enough, printed right here in Britain, but a tune from Newfoundland, a lovely piece of music, which I adapted from my limited mandolin chops, and pre-recorded myself a loop. Make sure I've got the right one. 3 there, to help me along a bit. So, in the key of A minor, Louise Bevan, if you're listening, or if you've got your mandolin, please play along. Here's a beautiful old tune from Newfoundland called She's Like the Swallow. She's like the swallow. Thank you very much, Louise. I saw you there. Thanks for playing along. Ah, that's a beautiful tune. I'll keep trying to work on that one. Okay. Mandolin. There's my mandolin for the day. Happy birthday times. I noted as I try to post, always trying to wish happy birthday to my friends and colleagues and people I know who have birthdays in the week. One I just learned about yesterday. So I mentioned that I had internet trouble and the internet was working better. Again, if you're a regular listener, you know that over the last number of years, or last number of months, I've been part of a really interesting online music endeavor known as Stream Cycle. Quite a genius friend of mine by the name of Mike Kearney, an Irishman who lives here in Edinburgh, has developed a very, very interesting and complex way of having bands play together online. And we're in a new series of things, and I actually missed 2 gigs in a row over the last few weeks because my internet upload speeds were not working, and it was really frustrating. But I got a new router, and things seemed to be okay, and I did a gig last night, which was such a treat. And a few of you, including Lorraine and Linda, I noticed tuned in, which was what a treat to see some friends from Live from Lockdown, some Canadians tuning into an Edinburgh-based show. We had a performer who's living in Bristol and another who lives just down the road here in Leith. His name is John McKenzie, a fantastic Edinburgh-based singer-songwriter who had a birthday yesterday, and we kind of just hooked up, and he thought I was still in Canada because I do some of those shows from Canada, and I will again. He was quite excited to learn I was here, and we might actually meet outdoors in some kind of distant place and have a pint sometime soon. Wouldn't that be nice? So John McKenzie, happy birthday, if you happen to be listening. A couple of Toronto colleagues I want to say hello to. Tim Shaw and Rachel Mellis both had birthdays this week. Both fantastic musicians. Tim's a drummer, Rachel's a bass player. We've played lots of music together, both of us, all of us, in different times, in different places. I also want to say a very special hello to Dana Manning, a really good friend, a fantastic guitarist and singer and songwriter and cultural activist. Dana does all kinds of amazing work, lives in Stratford, Ontario. And Dana's been a great host to me in the times when I've worked at the Stratford Festival, playing in some shows there that I've mentioned over the time. I've often stayed at Dana's place. I miss her a lot. I miss the Stratford Festival a lot. I hope to get back there one of these days. So happy birthday to all of you. And another one. Paul Burston has a birthday on Sunday. You might not see Paul in the comments because Paul flies under the radar by using his lovely wife's Facebook ID. So if you see Meg Hamilton, that's Meg and Paul. Paul, I've met Paul, but it's not someone that I know in person very well, but we've got to know each other over the internet and through Live from Lockdown quite well over the last couple of months. Paul's become a great supporter and a really good friend, sends me a bunch of lovely messages all the time. I know him originally because his brother Drew is a bass player and a longtime friend and colleague of mine. Drew is a bass player who plays on this album of mine, which you can also get at Bandcamp. Drew and I played together lots. And as I say, it's Paul's birthday, and I sent him a note this week to see if he had any requests. And he sent me a note. He remembered me playing a hymn sometime last year and sent me not only a request, but actually sent me the music for a beautiful hymn with a bit of a story. He and his wife Meg, for about 10 years, have been taking care of a child with special needs in their home who loves music. And apparently this is one of their favorite pieces. It's a hymn called "There Is a Place of Quiet Rest." And I want to tell you, Paul told me about this, and he was very humble, and he said he'd worked out a bit of an arrangement. It was originally in D flat major, but he wrote a chart in C, and sometimes he'd been playing it in D. And then he sent me a recording with about a paragraph of apologies about the guitar playing, and then this beautiful, beautiful rendition of him playing a solo guitar version of this lovely piece, "There Is a Place of Quiet Rest." So I'm hoping, Paul, that you're listening and that I can somehow measure up to that beautiful version you sent me. So for Paul, happy birthday. There Is a Place of Quiet Rest. I'm going to do it in C major, and then I'm going to switch to D major, cover both those bases. I'm not going to play in D flat along the way. That's too many flats for me right now. Oh, I should get rid of that loop, shouldn't I? There we go. Okay. Here we are. Nope. There is a place of quiet rest. Sometimes we all need that, don't we? Thank you, Paul. Happy birthday, Paul. I hope that version met your fancy. What a lovely tune. That was fun one to learn. Thanks for sending the music along. Made it easier to work that one up. Switch guitars again. I don't really plan my set list to make myself have to switch instruments every tune, although sometimes it might appear that way. Just, you know, whatever guitar is going to deliver the song as best I can. There is one more birthday that I need to acknowledge. I will confess. All this month, again, if you're a regular listener, you know, I have been talking about the fact that in April, there are a lot of Barrett birthdays. I've wished happy birthday to my sister, two nephews and a niece. And there is one more Barrett birthday that I wasn't going to make a thing about. I wasn't going to talk about this one. But I got outed last week, and I actually think I got outed again today, if I noticed a comment correctly. So what I will say is, yes, my fabulous mother, who I often mention, who lives in Vancouver, Pauline Barrett, my great mom, did note the anniversary of the birth of her first and only son this week on Tuesday. And so she sent me a message. She sent me a very nice message and asked if I would play this next tune for her. She said, for your birthday, I would love it if you could play a tune from me to you to me. So I'm going to do a tune for my mom, for me, for my mom. This is a tune by David Miles, a Canadian songwriter from New Brunswick. I didn't know of him or of this song until my mom drew my attention to it. And I don't know if I'm going to get through it or not, but I'm going to try it. A few adjustments as usual in order to play and sing. No, maybe not that. This is a tune called When It Comes My Turn, and I'm going to do my best. Getting old, but I'm not old yet. Already worried that I might forget how to laugh, how to love, how to live, how to learn. Wanna die with a smile when it comes my turn. Don't wanna get weary, want to get bored, don't want to get tired walking down this road. I've seen that happen so many times. Just want to believe that it's still worth trying. I'm getting old, but I'm not old yet. Already worried that I might forget how to laugh, how to love, how to live, how to learn. I want to die with a smile when it comes my turn. I know that it's easier said than done. I ain't that different from anyone. Worry about my money, got bills that I can't pay. Swear I'm more like my father every day. I'm getting old, but I'm not old yet. Already worried that I might forget how to laugh, how to love, how to live, how to learn. Wanna die with a smile when it comes my turn. Maybe I'll start bowling, maybe I'll play bridge, maybe I'll join a band with my own grandkids. Don't care if it kills me, gonna do what it takes to keep some warmth in my heart and a smile upon my face. Well, I'm getting old, but I'm not old yet. Already worried that I might forget to laugh, how to love, how to live, how to learn. Wanna die with a smile when it comes my turn. Sing that if you want to. I'm getting old. I'm getting old, but I'm not old yet. Already worried that I might forget how to laugh, how to laugh, how to love, how to live, how to learn. Wanna die with a smile, die with a smile when it comes my turn. There you go. Thanks, Mom. Thanks for being my mom. Well, I didn't think I was going to get through that, and I almost didn't. But there you go. Thanks for that. Thanks for indulging me in that one. Make sure I have all my adjustments correctly done. So many things to keep track of. Who knows what I'm forgetting? No emergency messages again. Brief message of love as I give you every week, and one more tune to call it a day. As always, please wear your wet mask. Please stay close to home. If you're in Scotland, we think we don't need them so much anymore, but you know, we do. And some places in the world, I'm really worried about my friends in Ontario. Seems like a mess. I hear they're talking about instituting quarantines for crossing the land borders there. Who knows what the right solution is, but staying home and reducing contact anywhere we can. My gosh, I want to send a lot of love to the people of India who are having a pretty awful time yet again this week. I also want to say, as well as May Day and some notable birthdays this week, there's another very important day that isn't that well known and doesn't get talked about outside of the labor movement. But April 28th, Wednesday of this week, is internationally recognized as the day of mourning for workers who were killed and injured on the job. It's got a great slogan this day: remember the dead, fight for the living. It seems to me that now more than ever we're called to recognize the toll paid by workers, and particularly healthcare workers, frontline health workers during this pandemic. People who have taken chances, faced enormous risk in order to keep us safe and healthy during the pandemic. And I want to just take a moment and thank them again. There have been various initiatives to thank healthcare workers in various places over the year, but the struggle is not over, and that work still needs to be done. And a lot of those people have become sick and themselves, and it's time that we remember that and we do something about that. We now know that large workplaces are one of the main places the pandemic is spreading. And we really need to protect workers. We need to stop workers getting sick, and we need to make sure that workers can stay healthy and can stay home if they think they're infected. Last week I talked about the fact that Doug Ford had recanted his, is that the right way to say that? Recanted his resistance? He had been resisting calls for sick days in Ontario and said he was going to put a sick day policy, paid sick day policy in place, and announced one this week which is totally inadequate, yet again, as per much of his response to the pandemic. There are some places in Canada where there's some decent sick pay policies, but all of them need to be better. Again, check the links on the side of the page for a great article about a way we could put a good paid sick leave policy in place in Ontario. It's not a very good one here in the UK. There's lots of places where people really need some more support. They need to know that if they think they're sick or they think they've been in contact with the COVID virus, that they can stay home without losing their income and without losing their jobs. And as we dig our way out of this pandemic, let's remember all those people. Let's remember the people who have been forced to go to work when they know they shouldn't. Let's remember the healthcare workers in particular who have gotten sick and put their lives at risk to keep us healthy. Remember the dead. Fight for the living. Let's hope that on April 28th next year, we don't have so many sad stories to tell each other. All right. I'm going to do one more tune and end this show for this week. Thank you again, all of you, for listening, as many of you do every week. It's all back to normal, I think. Some other people that I often speak of are my very good friends Dave and Ola in Bournemouth, who have been fantastic friends and supporters. I check my phone because if there's something technical going wrong that I'm not aware of, Ola sends me a text all the time. She's paying attention, and I love that. And I don't know, I don't want to out them too much, but Dave and Ola sent me a very lovely surprise because they knew it was my birthday on Tuesday, and I just want to say cheers and thank you to them. They are big Nick Drake fans, Dave and Ola, and I've done a couple of, well, I did one Nick Drake tune, I've done a couple of tunes for them over the months, but this is another one by Nick Drake. I'm going to do an instrumental version and do my usual end of the show, build a loop. It's going to take me a bit of time, as it always does, to build up a loop, so if you want to fill up your drink, please do. This is a great tune by the late great Nick Drake, called Saturday Sun. And I wish some Saturday sun for all of you everywhere. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you soon. This one's for Dave and Ola.